Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the ninth day of September 2020. Well, it's a Wednesday. I got all the way done, and before I was able to end this, it froze. So I'm going to maybe do this a little more quickly. I was over 35 minutes, and so maybe I just need to shorten this a little bit. I'm not going to take anything else. I'm going to leave what I have because I like what I have. I ended up taking 4 cards, and I'm just going to do the reading that way, and I'll do the fourth one and tell you what that is after I talk about these first 3. I already have the rune, and I have the geomancy rune, so we'll just talk about it and not do any shuffling or take that time to do that. Normally I do, but I don't know what happened, so I need to actually do this. So you have all this information for today. So let's just stay focused on that. And uh, you know, I talked a little bit about the fires that are going on in Oregon right now. It's pretty bad. So also in California, there's some going on in Washington State as well. So, and I think I saw a map that showed Nevada, but I'm not positive of all of that. So whoever's dealing with it and whatever, you know, there's a lot of tragedy going on. Um, a lot of things to make us focus though on what is important, and generally we don't think of that until long afterwards. But it just seems like in this 22 year, that's what's happening. We have a 9 energy for today, and that's endings and beginnings. So unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of that. We're going to begin though with the 8 of Cups, where we see a man walking away from emotions. His cups are all in an order there. But he's basically walking away from emotions that no longer serve him. We see the crescent moon above in the crone phase. So you have, it doesn't necessarily mean the triple goddess or three goddess women or anything like that. What it means is beginnings at the beginning, the middle, and the end. So say you have a new project or something, that would be the maiden phase. The mother phase would be bringing it to fruition, and then the crone phase would be letting it go and moving on to something else. But here we're talking emotions that no longer serve. And so he's walking away, and irrespective of the challenges ahead, he's going to take the high road now. And we'll know more with the 4th card as to what that's really talking about. But I also drew Death and the Lovers. The soul archetype information that's going to, I think, explain what this is about. And then I think that the 4th card is going to give us a little more information about that. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and take it. It's another 8. It's the 8 of Swords. See a castle on the hill back there. But she's got she's bound herself up and blindfolded. The swords surround her, sort of, mostly in the back. There's one there in the front, one on the side. You see red soppy sand, some water down there. So there's some water and there's some will. So it took quite a bit of will to actually make her bind herself up here. But she's no longer looking at the perceptions that basically caused her to reassess everything and walk away. In a sense, this is the precursor, letting go of perceptions that no longer serve. Because here's the thing, emotions and perceptions, they're kind of bound up together. You know, most of our perceptions are emotion based. They grow out of emotions, right? And I suppose we could put that after the fact, but I think really, you know, we've been duped. Maybe we have been influenced by others to go do something, you know, to act in ways that are emotionally based. But now, with the card of Death, we need to come into a different phase, don't we? We see the sun rising between 2 pillars. The town's back there in the distance there in black, in shadow. Or the kingdom. We see the king dead on the ground. We see mom and the child, the queen and the child, bereft and in sorrow. We see the priest blessing the whole thing, giving last rites, maybe. We see Death come in on his horse in his battle attire. We see his flag, his pennant with the inverted rose petal. You can see the pentagram in it here. Here we have it inverted, and it doesn't mean the devil. It's not evil. It's simply a focus into form. That's all that means. Instead of a focus into spirit, here we have a focus into form, a rebirth of sorts, because not only do we have transition, we have rebirth contained within the card, reincarnation. But what is the rebirth into? If we have bound ourselves up, if we're bounded by our perceptions, if we can't move and we have to turn our back to it, put a blindfold on so we no longer see, so it's no longer influencing. Sometimes you can read this as the influence of outside influence as well, right? But at the end of the day, the perceptions that we have are ours, no matter how we got them. All right? We've still made the choice to believe what we believe. But 8 is about strength. 8 is about leadership. 8 is about seeing the greater picture. It's about justice and greater harmony and the integration it takes to walk away. Well, what kind of integration? Where is the transition going? Where is the transformation? How will it manifest? Well, it's going to manifest in a different type of polarity and partnership and harmony with other people. Here you have the sun's rays focusing down, the light of spirit brought forth by the angel on the cloud. The message of balance, the message of harmony, the message of peace, the message of love. We see Adam and Eve represented. I thought I was going to stop again for a second there. We see Adam and Eve represented by, in their nude form, in their pure form. We see a mountain in the background, though, and it's sort of angling toward Eve, isn't it? Indicating that the real strength of the relationship is found in the receptive side of self. And what's that? That's compassion and empathy. As opposed to the projective side of self, which is going out there and pushing, right? It's a push energy versus a receptive or a drawing in energy. But where is the abundance? The abundance is behind Eve, isn't it? With the serpent of knowledge sort of wound around it there. But we see abundance, don't we? We see abundance, the abundance of spirit. And where is Eve's focus? Eve's focus is on that angel. So she's focused on the message of the Creator. You see the apples and the abundance, the leaf growth alone, plus the fruit that it's bearing. It's bearing fruit, the fruit of knowledge. But I guess we're supposed to be afraid of that? That somehow it's the knowledge of the devil? No, it's not. It never was. We see the oak tree trying to grow there, but it's not particularly lush like the way the apple tree is. But it gives Adam his strength. It gives the male principle its strength. And as long as that can be balanced with compassion and empathy, you do fine. But when it's, a focus only on that, then that's when I think we experience this, and then we have the need for that, right? Because he's just focused on her. He's not looking toward the angel. He's not drawing down the message of spirit into his experience here. Instead, he's likely caused this to happen. That focus only on the physical and not on the spirit side of self. But eventually, she binds herself, goes within, goes into alignment, deals with her fate, with Perthro, takes command of that herself, just turns her back to the influence of others, deciding or determining her fate, and then walks away, takes the high road, no matter what the challenges are, no matter what they are, understands the greater need for harmony, controlling the impulses within, the poor within. Remember, poor is little boy energy, lack of impulse control. That likely is embodied in his inability to look at spirit, because he's left to his own devices. And then little boys, they get into trouble when they're left to their own devices, right? I know, I raised two. They get into stuff, and they do things mom doesn't want them doing, right? Well, at some point, you got to put that aside and grow up. And you don't do things like that anymore, right? But at the same time, we're still dealing with that issue of an imbalance in polarity with respect to patriarchy in our world, with respect to the powers that be. Instead of living in truth, they live in their agenda. And so then they try to influence your perceptions in a way that you think are serving you. You think that they're answering you and what you need in life. When in reality, they're just trying to get you. They're trying to deceive you into thinking they actually care, which they don't. It's all about manipulation to get people to do their bidding so that they remain in power and in control of everything. That's generally what that's about. And then when you realize it, when you bind yourself up and you're no longer looking at it, you're refusing to see all of that anymore. You understand the fallacy of all of it. At that point, then, you see, it's hard to separate emotion from intellect at that point, isn't it? Because they appeal to your emotions, right? To your grievances, to your concerns. That's emotion. And then they affect your perception, which is intellect. And then you begin to act in ways that are harmful to other people, like we're seeing now. Something shifted, but now it needs to shift again so that the sun can rise on a new day and that we can control our own fate instead of having it being dictated to us by others. And it all comes down to the polarity that we're in, both within and without. And what I mean by that is the inner polarity that we have within, balancing the positive and negative, or the masculine and feminine within, and then doing the same in our relationships with others. It doesn't mean sameness. It doesn't mean that we aren't our own person. It just means that we have the ability to see the bigger picture, to understand everything within the scope of harmony within the collective. That's really what this whole life experience thing is all about, is learning how to regroup together, basically. Because that's the way we are in spirit. There's a greater understanding. When we're in non-physical, there's a greater understanding of this message. That we look back on this experience in third dimension, and we understand the greater message of it. We understand the need for the collective harmony to provide the energy for everything in life. Because to do anything less is to really detract from that energetic flow that's based on love of the Creator. So that's pretty cool, don't you think? And we cut our time in half too. How about that? I think that right now we're seeing such expressions of this that in our lives that we don't have any choice now but to pay attention. Whether it's circumstances bringing us together to help one another, or to see what happens when situations break down, with all the video that's out there, whether you're talking the protests and the violence. I saw it this weekend. These guys are literally running across this big expanse. We talked about this yesterday, and they're attacking people, beating them with clubs, spraying them with mace, whatever that stuff is. I assume it's mace. Beating them when they're down on the ground. It was awful to watch. I guess a couple people got arrested, but I guarantee you not enough. So what are we doing to one another? I think we're in a 22 year, and it's a year of profound change. A profound reassessment of who we are to one another, Do we see the other, or do we see the other side of self? And in reality, what we're seeing is the other side of self. And we need to understand that and stop beating people. We need to be able to trust law enforcement that they're not going to act in ways that are harmful to the people they're supposed to protect and serve. But we've gotten out of balance. We've gotten off kilter. We've taken things to a place where we feel justified in harming other people, in doing things to other people. And in the process, you see, then someone comes in and says, oh, I see an opportunity here to pit one against the other. Make me look like the savior, and then, stay in power forever. It's a scam. It's an illusion. It's done by design, so that the criminal aspect of self is what is controlling everything. So we control our perceptions, we control our emotions, we control our fate. Do we not? Or at least our perception of it. So I guess that's it. See what happens when we do it once and then we do it in condensed form. See, it happens much more quickly. Which means this will get uploaded more quickly. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks. I don't know why my computer just froze. Or not the computer itself, but the program itself just froze. And I'm watching it, I'm going, oh my God, no. I don't mind so much when it happens in the first few minutes, but when I'm, almost done. I mean, literally, I was ending it. I'd done everything. I was doing my last little, wear a mask, be good to yourself, all that stuff. Yeah, oh no. Quit right then. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. And again, wear a mask if you go out around anyone at all. I don't care where you are. Just have a mask on if you're around other people. If you're inside or out, and be good to yourself, be good to one another. Blessed be.